What's up, everyone? It's Christine Walker. I am back here this week on Patients on Demand to talk to you about the easiest way to create content for your clinic online consistently. Now, if you haven't heard, content creation, especially updating your website often, is a huge part in getting your clinic ranked higher, getting your clinic found more, establishing your clinic's authority as like a go-to and somebody who's really knowledgeable in the health sphere. And it is something that you need to be doing on a regular basis. And yet I find so many clinic owners, including myself back when I was doing this for my own cash practice, struggling mightily to do this. And I find after talking to a lot of our clients, because I really get this question at least once a month, and they're just overcomplicating things. They think that they have to do things in in this like grand scale with all this different content on every platform, and they're making it way harder on themselves than it has to be. And so today, that's where I want to clear the confusion. I want to make sure people understand exactly how I've created content both for my clinic, and honestly, I'm using the exact same process right here, right now, as I make this video and podcast, like so that it's easy on me. Literally, I've gotten it down to, and of course, this is what you want to aspire to eventually, but I've gotten it down to, I sit down and literally for 15, 20 minutes, I sit here on Zoom, record a video and audio, and that's what I do for the week. And it becomes all of this other content. And this is the same strategy that you need to use in your clinic. And so I'm going to walk you through exactly what I do today so you can see really how simple it is. Like, this does not have to be something earth-shattering. This does not have to be something that consumes most of your week. In fact, like I said, if I'm spending more than about 20 minutes on it, getting the content down and getting the content ready on it during the week, then I am doing something wrong. Okay. Like completely wrong. So what we need to do is run through my steps here and how to create consistent content. Now, step number one, of course, is going to be, you got to have a content idea. And a lot of people are like, where do you get them from? I'm telling you, they're all around you. You just need to pause for a second and listen. Okay. This is one of the secret tricks. And once you unleash this, it's going to be so easy for you. So literally, what did I say at the beginning of this podcast? I said, I get this question at least once a month from one of my clients. Where do you think I get all this content? I have clients who email me, they hear the podcast come out and they go, glad to know I inspired that episode. And they're like laughing. They actually seem to like it when they're like, hey, you're talking about me on the episode. So you need to use just what you already have. In other words, what you're hearing in the clinic. If you're not treating, what questions are your therapists being asked all the time? What questions is the front desk being asked on the phone all the time? Go dig and do some research. Just go ask. What questions are you guys getting? What do people want to know? What are people especially asking over and over and over? That's all you need to set off one easy piece of content that then becomes, if you want, podcast, YouTube, blog, email blast for the week, social media post on all platforms, etc. So for me this week, it was, hey, what am I going to talk about? And I was like, oh yeah, I've been getting those questions lately about content. Like, I'm not posting on Facebook because it just seems too complicated and I don't know what to post about. Well, you know what my answer is? Do you have a blog? Yeah, I got a blog. Great. Let's go back to some blog episodes. Let's go look and see what you got on there. And let's go create those into micro pieces of content. Go pull quotes from it. Go pull a little thing you said. Maybe just shoot a video with one of the sentences out of it that was really good. Bingo, right? So you have to start once you got step one down, like once you know a piece of content you can talk about and you go grab it. You have to start with ground zero. Like, where does this piece of content start? So for some people, and for a lot of our clients, it starts from their blog because they know how important blogging is. And in fact, as part of our services, we provide them with 2 copyright-free blogs each month. So they have something, even if they can't come up with something, they have some content they can launch off of, right? And have a blog. And so if you start with the blog, one, you're connecting with your audience. Two, you're improving your SEO. Three, you're establishing your authority. Four, you're just being able to speak directly to your patients and show that you understand them, which is crucial to pre-framing them to coming in or to taking a call to action, picking up the phone when they're on your website or filling out a form or taking a freebie. So what is going to be your starter content? Now, in my clinic, it was always the blog because that's where I was comfortable. I could sit down, I could write out the answer to something. And then from there, we could distribute it in multiple places. If I wanted to, I could take the blog, go put it in front of me, turn the camera on, just kind of use it as notes and read to you and make it into either a YouTube video and or a podcast. And from there, it could all be split up into content for social media. So where is your starting point? Number two, that's what you have to decide. You got to have an idea, but then you got to have your starting point. What piece of content? I suggest starting always with the same piece of content. So in this business, I actually don't start with the blog anymore. I used to do that for my clinic. In this business, I've found, I've gotten to the point I'm way more comfortable in camera than I was if you watch my videos from like 3 years ago. Way more comfortable, way more confident. Just find this way more easier than sitting down. For me, it would take me probably like 30 to 45 minutes to write a blog. But when I do it this way, I can sit down and record it in less time now that I've had experience doing it. So I like to start with the podcast. Now, sometimes it's a bad day or I don't feel like putting makeup on or, I just like feel like I can't get in front of a camera for a topic. Sometimes then I'll just bust out my phone, record the podcast on my phone, and there isn't an actual video with me sitting here engaging with you that could be put on YouTube like I'm doing right now. For the record, if you're listening on podcast right now, you can't tell that, but I am literally recording this as a video. And then we've just pulled the audio and made that the podcast. Whereas if you go on YouTube, you'll be able to find the whole thing with me talking in front of the camera. So, if it's a bad day, can't do camera or my camera is malfunctioning, like right now I'm using my backup camera because my other one's not playing nice with my new computer. Tech stuff happens, guys. You can't let these excuses get in the way of getting your content out there. I just pull out my phone. I use an app called Voice Recorder on my Apple iPhone. And that's where, if you've ever listened to one of my episodes where my chickens start barking in the background, like I just decided to go outside and like pace around my yard and literally record a piece of content. So here's some behind the scenes for you, right? So step number 2 is like, where do you start? So you could start with the blog. And from there, if you wanted, you have all your notes written out to either hop on a podcast and voice record yourself or hop on YouTube, if those are platforms that are big for pushing to your audience. And then from there, you have video clips you could pull to put on social media. You also have quotes. So what happens in our business after the one piece of content has been recorded? So this could be done by you depending on how much time you have in your hands. If you're still solo or if you're a bigger practice owner, you probably have a marketing assistant somewhere in your business that can do this. And it's super, super simple. Okay. My marketing assistant, I hired her and literally in a week and a half, she figured out how to do this all for our own business. And we were able to bring it back internally instead of paying an outside company for it and saved a lot of money. And so what you do is our next step is I record this. She takes it, she goes to rev.com. She gets it transcribed. We pay their like cheap, like 25 cents a minute version. So it's like 80% correct. And they get it done in like just a few minutes. It's awesome. You don't even have to wait that long. And from there, what we do is she then has the whole transcript and she can start cleaning it up. And so from there, she turns that into an email. She can turn it into a blog. She can pull quotes that then she knows she's going to go on Canva. We like to use Canva for making all our social media posts. She can do that and create content around the topic I've talked about this week to then schedule out on the blog on our different social media platforms, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. So if you're wondering how I'm everywhere, it literally starts with 15, 20 minutes of me sitting down and doing exactly what I'm doing right now. And then from there, she takes over and she starts doing all those pieces where it's just cutting the content. And then getting the post ready, getting them scheduled, getting everything put together. And from there, all of a sudden, I'm everywhere. So she does that on social media. Then she writes the email based on the transcription as well. She writes an email that goes in Infusionsoft. You guys probably get my weekly email, and then you get the content kind of as an email, and it also mentions you can go listen more there, either on the podcast or on YouTube, etc. And so all of a sudden, I am everywhere off 15 to 20 minutes of recording every week. Once again, if you're a clinic, it might be easier because you may not be doing podcast YouTube. So don't feel like you have to, because for some people that works well. For others, like their audience isn't on podcast or YouTube. So you have to really recognize, like, why are you doing what you're doing? We're not just doing it for the sake of doing. Okay. Like, so step number 3, I think, in this is once you pick your base content, you need to figure out where else you want to put it. So we've got our topic. Then how are you going to start? Like, are you going to start with a blog? Are you going to start with recordings? I suggest starting with the thing your customers are most likely to consume. And then number 3, where are you going to distribute it to? Okay. And pick your other places of how you can pull it and distribute it. Don't be afraid to get transcripts if you didn't start with the blog. And if you start with the blog, if you're like, I've always wanted to start a podcast, it's only going to take you a few minutes to then sit down, even if you just record it on your phone, and then upload the audio file to something like anchor.fm. By the way, that's what we use. So easy, and it's free. You can start a podcast today if you wanted. And all of these things, where do they need to go? Based on who your target audience is and where you can reach them. That's the most important. Don't just start a YouTube channel just because. Make sure your people are on YouTube, that's going to be worthwhile for your time. Okay. So those are my 3 steps here to distributing massive content with very little time. And so that you are everywhere, even without paid ads, right? For full disclosure, of course, paid ads, good layer on top, but this is how you can be everywhere. This is how I started this business. This is how I started my clinic. This exact strategy that I'm sharing with you today. I layered on the ads later. Totally did. This is the momentum that got me everywhere. And still to this day, even without the ads, people are like, I just see you everywhere. You're just everywhere. That's the key. You want to be top of mind. You want to be everywhere. That means when people make a decision, guess where they're going to look? They're going to look to you. And that's exactly what you want. All right. So that's my little coaching corner for the day, is how to create massive content and be everywhere organically. It's a fantastic strategy that you can implement fairly easily. Start small, start with one platform, and then distribute it on others, and go from there and get to reap the benefits of everyone seeing you everywhere. Now, also, if you are looking to be seen everywhere in the sense of Google search engine rankings, Google map rankings, that is something that PT Website Secrets, we're so excited we are now doing. And we're seeing some amazing results, like people doubling their number of opt-ins, getting way more people visiting their website from their local towns. Like, who cares if somebody all the way across the country visits your website because they're not coming into your clinic? The key is how many more local people. So if that's something you want to talk about, that's something you're curious about, you can go to ptwebsitesecrets.com/strategy, fill out an application. We'd be happy to chat with you about what it looks like to make you a celebrity and get you ranked everywhere with your website, so that then not only will you be all over the social media and all the content production, but you will also be showing up in all the search engine rankings very high for all that content you produced. Double huge whammy, allows you to hit it out of the park. Ignore, I'm just realizing I'm on video here on YouTube, and ignore this. If anyone's curious, my massage therapist and I played around with a new electronic cupping tool. And for those of you who can see me on video, it looks like I have a few bruises, which is really funny. Because like this was totally not necessary, but I guess we tried the tool and it was a little more aggressive than we thought, left it on a little longer than I should have. So yes, I look like I've been eaten by a squid or an octopus on YouTube right now. So if you're curious about that, you should totally check out my video and check out our YouTube channel, because we have some other awesome content. So if you're only a podcast listener, there's a little quick plug. Go see me looking crazy. on YouTube, and we'll go from there. All right, everyone, have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.